So welcome. Today we're going to talk about chiffon cake. Now chiffon cake is one of my favorites, whether it's a vanilla or a chocolate chiffon cake. I won't buy another box of cake mix as long as I live now, and I don't think you will either after you've done this cake. It's moist, it's tender. The fact that it uses oil for the fat makes it really versatile. So let's check this out. So we're going to start first with our dry, our flour and our leavening agent and our salt. We got our baking powder, and we have our salt. We're going to sift that right onto a piece of parchment paper first, because this is super important. We don't want any lumps of baking powder or cake flour going into the cake. We want it to be nice and clean. The other thing is, you'll realize that sometimes you use a coarse ground kosher salt. Realize once you get to the bottom, if it's just salt left, you can go ahead and dump that in. All right. The next part we're going to talk about is our egg whites, and this is super important. So we're going to take our egg whites and put them into a nice cool bowl that's clean egg whites. Make sure they're super clean. And we're going to go ahead and get those whisking up. As we start whisking this up, I've got cream of tartar and I've got sugar. And I'm going to put those two together. And I'm just going to mix that together with my finger, make sure that it's coming together. And what I'm doing is I'm looking for my egg whites to get foamy. While that's getting foamy and we're waiting for that, because this is a common meringue. So I'm going to tell you right now, practice your common meringue, because as common as it is, a lot of people mess that part up. So when do you add the sugar? Me personally, I add the sugar once it gets nice and foamy and starts to climb just a little bit, and then the sugar will continue to bring that to the top. Pay attention to Chef Zink's egg white foam lecture in food science class. That'll help you out big time. So now we've got some foam started. You can see it in the bowl. We have a little bit of foam there. Now we're going to back the camera up a little bit, because what happens is when you start raining in the sugar, and it is a raining method, so it just rains in, you can see some extra dust that comes off. And I want to say, when I went to culinary school, one of the things I didn't realize, because it wasn't being taught to me at the time, was that you can over-whip your egg whites. There's soft, there's medium, there's stiff, and then there's dry. When they become dry, they actually fall apart. The water comes out the bottom, and you end up with chunks. If you've ever had it happen to you, you know. You only have to see it once. When you see it happen, you'll realize, wow, that's exactly what Chef meant. The water comes to the bottom, and you can actually cut the egg whites with a knife. And when you fold something like that into your product, it doesn't fold nicely. It actually folds in like chunks. And you end up with these white foamy bits inside of your cake batter or your mousse or anything else that you're folding that common meringue into. So we're going for a nice, I call it shaving cream consistency here. And once we get to that shaving cream consistency, we'll go ahead and stop the mixer. As you can see, we got a nice medium consistency, like shaving cream. I always tell everybody, you just want shaving cream consistency. So once that's done, you got your flour sifted. Now we're going to start with the fatty stuff. So we've got water, we have our oil. This is a vegetable oil. We have our sugar, and we have our egg yolks. Once we get all of that in there, we're going to take our whisk. We're going to whisk all that together. And then I'm going to take my dry ingredients, and I'm going to dump those right on top of all the fat product. And I'm going to incorporate all of that in first, using the whisk just to get it broken up. So we've got all that mixed in. Now we're going to go ahead and incorporate our egg whites. We're going to do this in thirds. We're going to take our first third, Give this a nice fold. I don't want to get it all the way worked. I just want to get it. That first third you can kind of sacrifice a little bit without any issues. Second third we're going to be a little softer. And you'll notice the fold over. As soon as that last little line almost is gone, we're going to put in our last third. We'll just fold this until all the lines are gone. Alright, so we've got our batter done. It's nice. We don't have any more streaks of either the egg white foam or the fatty part in there left. Now we're going to talk about prepping the pans. So these cake circles are cut to fit these cake pans. And one of the things that I tell people is it's a foam cake. So with a foam cake, don't spray the pan like heavily, like people spray out the pans like that. I tell them just spray the paper in the bottom first. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and place this down into the bottom of the pan, like so. And then I'm going to pour the batter about half to 2/3 full. So if you've got shorter pans at home, half to 2/3 full. Do not fill them all the way up. You do not want to do that. So this makes 2 tall cakes. And we'll put these in the oven at about 335 to 350 degrees until either a stick comes out clean, the edges come from the side, or it bounces. All right, so we've got our chiffon cake. We're gonna bring this out of the oven. Bring it over here to the top. Now, it's got a spring to it, but more importantly, if you look down inside, it's come from the side. You could put a toothpick in it, and I know that's normal, but once it gets out of the oven, you take a butter knife flat and go around the edge, and that releases that last little bit. Slide it out and then put it back onto its paper side. Now you can see it's nice and spongy, super hot. We'll get these into the fridge and let them chill, and then we'll go ahead and decorate our cake.